Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we are going to be doing my offseason recap of the Portland Trailblazers this offseason, what they did and what kind of things it looks like they're going to be doing. I don't know why I phrased that weird. Hit that like and subscribe button before we continue. What do you guys expect this offseason to forecast, I guess you would say? We were recapping it, what they did and what it's setting up to be in the next few weeks. We'll also do our preview for the season. So let's get right to it. I don't know why I'm like talking weird, but I sound like I just can't speak. Either way, let's get right here. And you're looking, before we put the highlights on the screen, I just want to talk about what did they do? What does this team have in store, or what they've done different than previous years? I think the Deni Avdija move and the whole post Damian Lillard future looks weird. And the way I'm talking just makes it just seem even more ambiguous. But the whole thing I'm getting at is this is a team, as I apply Carmex, but this is a whole team that they have so much salary committed. If you're rebuilding, why do you have so much salary committed? Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, Deni Avdija. Deni Avdija is on like a fantastic contract. Then you also have Matisse Thybulle, who you signed last year. You didn't even trade for him. You signed him. So I guess you got him, and you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, but you guys know what I meant by that. He was part of the Sixers trade, with Robert Covington and all that. But what I was more so getting at is that there's a lot of money being spent, and it really feels like they're not a part of a direction. Obviously, Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson are the two cornerstones. You drafted Donovan Clingan, but you have DeAndre Ayton, and I have no idea where DeAndre Ayton is going. So let's just talk about what they did, and I still think the future is a bit murky, but let's just talk about it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. This is what the roster currently looks like. If we want to talk about it real quickly, I think Devontae Graham, Delano Banton, and Henry Drill. I think Henry Drill will be the third two-way, but Delano Banton and Devontae Graham are fighting for that last roster spot, I probably assume. And if anybody, I assume the people who could be traded are Anthony Simons, Thybulle, Robert Williams, Jeremy Grant, and DeAndre Ayton. That's just the natural assumption of how I would assume that's how that would go down. But I don't know. I find it like rather interesting to think about. This is just very peculiar. All right, so what did Portland do if we really had to put it on a finger? The Deni Avdija trade, which they gave up a first-round pick that's theirs in like 5 years. Donovan Clingan, which I thought was good. They have Justin Minaya on a two-way, which I'm not a huge Justin Minaya fan, but it is what it is. Bryce McGowens I thought was good. But the Trailblazers got under the luxury tax and the first apron, which they shouldn't even had to do as a team that was rebuilding, for the Deni Avdija trade, which I guess improved their roster. Avdija had a breakout season of 14.7 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 3.8 assists. He also finished sixth in most improved. And the Trailblazers are in a unique position where they have the fourth youngest roster while also having Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams, and DeAndre Ayton, Matisse Thybulle under contract. All six of those players have trade value. And Williams has one of the best contracts, but he's missed all of 6 games in the last 18 months. And now with Clingan there, he's presumably expendable. However, the future draft picks of the Blazers, I feel like, is just where it all comes crashing down to what is this even going to look like and what's the direction? Because, again, if we have to go with what we know, Scoot Henderson, Deni Avdija, Shaedon Sharpe, I guess your point guard is Scoot, your shooting guard is Shaedon, your small forward is Deni. I assume you're hoping that obviously Clingan's the center, so you need a power forward of the future, which I guess is in this upcoming draft. My assumption is everybody outside of those 4 dudes is available for trade, right? I don't know. I just think it's a weird situation. So in this upcoming draft, they actually owe their pick to Chicago, but it's protected 1 through 14 this year and next year and the year after that, all the way through 2028. So basically, if it does, they basically have to be a lottery team until 2028. And if that's what happens, the pick never conveys, and instead it becomes a second round pick that goes to Chicago. And I said Charlotte earlier, but I meant Chicago. So they have to be bad for the next 4 years or really good. If not, if they're outside the lottery, they're giving up that pick. So they're kind of in a bad position in terms of that, of controlling their own pick if it doesn't convey this year. And then after all those years, they don't have a protection on the 2029 pick. So outside of that, their first round pick, yeah, they have the Milwaukee swap. They have Boston's pick in 2029. Like a lot of they don't have a huge, covet of draft picks like other rebuilding teams do. And Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe are your best bets. And I really hope like they can be good. Like I'm a fan of Scoot. I'm a fan of Shaedon. I just don't know now with a guy like Shaedon Sharpe, who he took the jump. I think Shaedon Sharpe's going to be solid. But how much better does he get? I know efficiency went down this season, but he took a jump scoring and all the other stuff, and he's literally 21 years old. So I have faith that Shaedon's going to figure it out. Scoot is the bigger question mark because the efficiency is the biggest question. And I know post All-Star break, he was shooting 35% from 3, 40% from the field, 16.6 points in the last 19 games of the season. And even if you look at it during the month of April, in the last 7 games, 41.7% on 7 threes a game, 42% almost on 17 field goals a game, on 19.5 points, just under 10 assists. So the thing is, he looks legit. So I think outside of that, we just need to figure out. My biggest problem is like, how are we going to trade these contracts? Who are going to take on these contracts? Do we have an answer for that? Or is that one still to be determined? If so, that's my next big if is, all right, if we are going to move on from these people, what team wants DeAndre Ayton? What team takes on Jeremy Grant? I really think Jeremy Grant is like a Chris Middleton situation, where what I mean by that is you got to be a team like the Bucks or somebody that is going to be like, okay, we'll give you Chris Middleton and whatever draft picks we can that we have left, and give us Jeremy Grant. But I don't even know if that's like they would want to even do business with them. The only other team we know, the Lakers, we obviously know. I've floated around this like weird New York. If New York can find a third team to take on Julius Randle, and they could find assets to send there, because I think the Knicks love to go wing heavy. So it's just trying to find who's going to trade for those guys, and I think that's where they are. But this rebuild seemingly is going to take a few years, unless Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe will both become all NBA players within the next 2 years.